Hey Magic fans, welcome to the latest Magic Player History episode on the career of Larry Krystkowiak. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you can learn the story of every Magic player who ever suited up for the franchise. Larry Krystkowiak played at the University of Montana, where he set numerous records, including career scoring and rebounding totals, and eventually had his jersey retired. After graduation, Krystkowiak was drafted in the second round of the 1986 NBA draft with the 28th pick by the Chicago Bulls, before being traded to Portland and then San Antonio, where he played his rookie season. After a trade to the Bucks, Krystkowiak played there for the next 5 seasons, but his career was derailed by an ACL injury and he missed the entire 1990-91 season. Krystkowiak was subject to one final trade in 1992 and played a season in Utah that was cut short due to a foot injury, before entering free agency where the Magic came knocking in their quest to upgrade their power forward position. During Shaq's rookie season the previous year, O'Neal didn't play well with Terry Catledge, who couldn't space the floor and was left to fight alone on the boards for much of the game when Jeff Turner was his front court running mate. Tom Talbot ended up being the regular starter at power forward and played so well that when he hit free agency, he was searching for an annual salary of at least $1 million a year. With the Magic having Shaq's large contract on their books and now having to squeeze Penny Hardaway into their salary cap, they were looking for cheaper options. Krystkowiak offered similar statistical production to Talbot, but brought much needed experience and a reputation as an enforcer. In free agency, Krystkowiak was pursued by both Orlando and Miami. Miami could offer up to $750,000 a year, but Orlando could only offer a $450,000 slot left over from waiving Lester Connor. Krystkowiak was already leaning towards signing with the Magic for less money, as they offered a chance at a starting role, so when the league granted the Magic a salary cap exemption because of Jerry Reynolds' career-ending injury, Krystkowiak eagerly signed on with the Magic for a 2-year deal with a mutual early termination option after the first year worth just under $1.5 million. As an indication of how times have changed in the NBA, Krystkowiak joined the team in 1993 as one of only 3 Orlando Magic players that had a tattoo. Prior to the start of the season, the Magic bought out Terry Catledge, which narrowed the battle for the starting power forward spot to just Krystkowiak and Jeff Turner. Turner started the first 2 preseason games before a heel injury opened the door for Krystkowiak. The Magic headed to England for 2 exhibition games against the Atlanta Hawks to finish the preseason, and after the games, Brian Hill decided that he liked Turner more coming off the bench. When the regular season kicked off, Krystkowiak got off to a decent start as the Magic won their first 3 games of the season, and he gradually started to ramp up his play, scoring 11 points in a win over his former team Utah, and then scored 12 points in the first quarter of the next game against Detroit before injuring his right foot during that game, the same foot he had injured the previous year playing for the Jazz. The injury was initially reported as a foot sprain, and Krystkowiak wasn't expected to be out long. The pain worsened though each time he attempted to return to running, and after getting a second opinion in January, Krystkowiak was put into a cast, as the injury was now being reported as a stress fracture. During his time on the injured list, Krystkowiak was elected by teammates to be the Magic's representative with the NBA Players Association, and in early February, Krystkowiak had his cast removed and was able to shoot around without pain, but it wasn't until the end of February when he made his in-game return. The Magic had struggled so much for frontline help with Krystkowiak out injured that they traded for Anthony Avent. So when Krystkowiak returned, he came off the bench, though he still averaged over 20 minutes per game in March. Toward the end of March, the Magic headed out west for a road trip and played poorly in LA, losing to the Lakers. Coach Brian Hill, upset with the team's lack of toughness, made the team practice the next morning, early, and some of the players were not happy about it. The players were split up into teams of 3 or 4 and played half court with no fouls called. Krystkowiak, as the biggest player on his team, was matched up against Shaquille O'Neal and didn't back down at all. As the two continued to go at it, with practice getting more and more physical, all the while, Scott Skiles was talking trash to both, upset at O'Neal in particular for letting the Los Angeles nightlife affect his play. Eventually, Krystkowiak and O'Neal came to blows, and the infamous Magic All-In training brawl was underway. Different perspectives on the brawl have already been told in episodes 12 and 29, and there are many different versions of the story, but Krystkowiak's recollection was that after he and Shaq came to blows, Skiles tried to get into the middle of the big men to help, and he took a swing at O'Neal. O'Neal grabbed Skiles in a headlock and clocked him, damaging his neck. After the practice, Krystkowiak was furious, and he stated that he almost retired on the spot before being talked around by Dennis Scott and Anthony Bowie, and he scored 8 points the following night against the Warriors before missing a game with a swollen toe. Krystkowiak continued his bench role during April until Jeff Turner tore his ACL 10 days before the playoffs. Krystkowiak was inserted into the starting lineup for the last 4 games of the season, scoring in double figures in wins over Detroit and Minnesota during the stretch run. In the playoffs, the Magic were matched up against a more experienced Indiana Pacers team, with Krystkowiak one of the few Magic players who had been to the postseason before. In Game 1, Krystkowiak had 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, and he played great defense on Rick Smits, but the Magic lost by a point. Krystkowiak struggled in Game 2, and the Magic lost by 2, and while he scratched together 12 points in Game 3, the Magic lost again and were swept out of the playoffs. Almost immediately following the playoff exit, Horace Grant's name started popping up in the Orlando media as a potential power forward upgrade, even though the free agent-to-be was still playing in the playoffs with the Chicago Bulls. Krystkowiak's contract was structured with a dual option. The team first could decide to decline the second year, but if they chose to keep Krystkowiak, he could still then decide to decline and look elsewhere. In the following weeks, as free agency talks with Horace Grant trended in the right direction, the Magic decided not to exercise the option for Krystkowiak's second year, making him an unrestricted free agent. After Grant left the Bulls and signed on with the Magic, Chicago were in need of a power forward, and Krystkowiak signed with them. Krystkowiak became the Bulls' starting power forward before more knee injuries once again derailed his season and he played just 19 games. Krystkowiak played in France the following season before a 3-game stint with the Lakers and a season in the CBA with the Idaho Stampede completed his playing career. Almost immediately, Krystkowiak stepped into an assistant coaching position at the University of Montana before working his way through college and CBA ranks to become an assistant with the Milwaukee Bucks in 2006. After Terry Stotts was fired during the 2006-2007 season, Krystkowiak was given the head coaching position, but he was fired after the following season, compiling a 31-69 record with the Bucks. Krystkowiak then had a 10-year stint as head coach at the University of Utah, which ended in early 2021. In Krystkowiak's 34-game Orlando Magic career, he averaged 5.1 points and 3.6 rebounds per game. I hope you enjoyed this look at the Magic career of Larry Krystkowiak. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and check back soon for our next episode on the Magic career of Tree Rollins.